Almost half of the homes listed in Phoenix right now have had at least one price reduction. And according to the National Association of Realtors, the number one thing that listing agents recommend before you list your house is something that most sellers completely skip. There are two things that will make or break your home sale, and if you get them wrong, you could be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Now look, I've done thousands of listing presentations across the valley from Scottsdale to Gilbert Goodyear, everywhere in between. And what I've learned is that when it comes to getting the most money for your home, it really comes down to just two things. It's not 5 or 10 or 20, it's super simple. And the good news is they're both things that you have control over. The first is the presentation of your home, and the second is the price. Look, I get that sounds simple, but the way most sellers handle these two things is costing them real money. So let's dive into it. Now, when most people hear get your home ready for sale, they immediately think full renovation, right? New countertops, new flooring, fresh landscaping, the works. And I get why. It's because all the TV shows make it look like that, make it look like the house has to be perfect. In fact, a recent NAR study showed that 48% of buyers expect homes to look like they look on TV, and 58% are disappointed because that's not what they end up seeing in reality. But here's the thing. I'm not gonna ask you to remodel your whole kitchen. The single biggest bang for your buck, and this is backed up by data, is something way, way simpler than that. Decluttering. Not tidying up, not making it look nice. I mean, picking it up, packing the house up to the point where it barely looks like someone lives there. Think about your bathroom. Take every soap bottle, every shampoo bottle, the toothpaste, every product, put it under the counter, into a drawer, under the sink. Your kitchen counters, clean them up, the toaster, the knife block, the paper towel holder, all of that goes into the cabinet or in a box in the garage. And I know that sounds extreme, but listen to what the data says. The National Association of Realtors 2025 staging report said that 91% of agents say decluttering is the number one recommendation to make the house look awesome. 29% of agents reported that staged homes receive offers 1 to 10% more than unstaged homes. So here in Phoenix on a $450,000 house, that's between $4,500 and $45,000 extra dollars just from presentation. Now I get it. Some people just don't want to do the work. When I sit down with sellers, I always ask them the same question on a scale 1 to 10. How much work do you want to put into the home? 1 is, we're going to list this thing tomorrow. 10 is every single thing I tell you, you're going to go ahead and do it. And you know what? Almost nobody says 10, right? A lot of people say 1, like, oh, let's just get this thing done, which is no problem. We can do that. And a good chunk of people land around 5. And I get it. That's fine, because here's how I think about it. You're going to be moving away. Why not just go ahead and get packing anyways? That you're going to pack, you got to put all the stuff away, you're moving. Let's just start now and get the work moving so that the new buyer can see what this house is going to look like when they actually move into the property. And if you do it before, this could be the highest dollar per hour you ever make in your life. A weekend of decluttering that leads to even a 2% bump on like a $450,000 house, that's $9,000 for maybe 15 to 20 hours of work. That's $450 to $600 an hour, and it's way more, obviously, if the home is worth more. So that's a lot more than most people's day job. It's a great way to spend some time, maybe the best paying job that you'll ever have. All right, so that's thing number 1. Now let's talk about the one that costs sellers even more money. And it's the one that I see go wrong the most often: pricing your home too high. Look, I get it. I know why sellers want to do this. It feels smart. If I price it a little high, the buyers will negotiate down and then I'll land where I actually want to be, which totally sounds logical. It's one of the most common instincts that sellers have, and it's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Here's what the data actually shows, and this is significant. A study from Keller Williams found that homes that required 3 or more price reductions sold for only 88% of their original list price and sat on the market for 146 days. Homes that were priced right from the start, those sold for 99% of their list price in an average of 40 days. That's crazy, right? That overpriced homes don't just sell slower, they sell for less money. And right now in Phoenix Metro, this is not a theoretical problem. Nearly half of all active listings have had a price reduction. In January 2026, homes with price cuts jumped from 56% to 63%. The average home here is selling for about 3 to 4% below list price and sitting on the market for over 70 days. Here's what most sellers don't understand, and honestly, what a lot of agents don't explain well enough. The biggest leverage point you have as a seller is being new to the market. When your home hits the market first, it's when everyone's excited about checking out the property, you're getting the most eyeballs. Those first 7 to 14 days, that's your window when you could potentially get multiple offers or offers near the asking price. That's when you're gonna get the very best, the most strong offers, because buyers know that other buyers are looking in that same time window too. But if you're overpriced, you blow right through that window. Nobody makes an offer, and now you're chasing the market down with price reductions, and every time you drop the price, buyers start wondering what's wrong with your home, and you lose all your leverage. Now, I wanna be fair, there is some nuance here. If you truly have a unique property, like a home with a pool in a neighborhood where nobody's got pools because they're all new build properties with no backyards, all right, that's a case for testing the market. Let's see, how things go. Maybe you shoot a little higher. Unique features that are hard to comp can justify a slightly different approach. But for the vast majority of sellers in the Phoenix market right now, you're way better off pricing on the low side and getting the market to come to you rather than pricing high and then hoping someone bites. So here's the bottom line. These two things work together. A home that's decluttered and that shows really, really well will get more buyer interest. More interest creates competition, and a home that's priced right from day one captures that interest during the window when it matters the most, that first window. Here's the good news. You don't need to spend $50,000 on renovations. You don't need to time the market perfectly. You just need to present your home as if it were a product, not like a place that you live. I get that's a little extra work, but it's really worth it in the end. And then you have to price it correctly using the right data, not what you hope it will sell for. Do those two things and you'll be ahead of most sellers in the Valley. And if you're thinking about selling, I'd be happy to take a look at your property for you, give you an idea of exactly how much it might sell for in this market, give you some tips and tricks on what to do and what not to do to make sure that you get as much money as possible. Just reach out and I'd be happy to set that up for you.